Welcome to today's intriguing video, where we explore the incredible benefits of avoiding certain foods for arthritis and the remarkable results it can bring to your pain relief. Have you ever heard someone say, "I avoided these foods for arthritis and my pain is gone"? It might sound too good to be true, but the results can be truly remarkable. Think you know everything there is to know about managing arthritis pain? Think again. In this video, we'll explore the powerful effects of eliminating certain foods from your diet and the surprising relief they can bring to arthritis symptoms. From morning stiffness to joint inflammation, you'll be amazed at the difference it can make. But remember, while we're here to share these insights, consulting with a healthcare professional is always essential for personalized advice. So, get ready to embark on this journey of discovery and learn how avoiding certain foods can transform your life and leave arthritis pain behind. Number 1. Salty foods. Reducing salt intake can be particularly beneficial for people with arthritis. It's a big deal because the salt levels in processed and fast foods in Western countries can be staggering, sometimes up to 100 times higher than what you'd use in homemade meals. Crazy, right? Think about some of your favorite foods: shrimp, canned soup, pizza, certain cheeses, and processed meats. All these foods pack a lot of salt. Research has shown that eating too much salt could increase the risk of autoimmune diseases, including inflammatory arthritis. What's really interesting is that studies found about half of the risk from smoking in developing rheumatoid arthritis comes from its interaction with sodium intake. So salt plays a bigger role than we might have thought. Speaking of guidelines, did you know that recent European recommendations suggest we shouldn't exceed 5 grams of salt per day? This was the target in our study too. Patients first went through a period of sodium restriction and then a normal sodium phase. We checked how well they followed the diet by measuring their 24-hour urinary sodium excretion. Their levels were much lower than the cutoff of 85 milliequivalents per 24 hours during the first 3 weeks, which showed that they were sticking to the low-sodium diet. Here's a surprising fact. The baseline sodium levels were quite high: 113.5 over 84.9 to 165.5 milliequivalents per 24 hours for RA patients, and 153.5 over 96.3 to 215 milliequivalents per 24 hours for those with systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE. This tells us that in most Western countries, people are consuming way more sodium than they should. So, why does this matter? Well, one theory is that salt might trigger immune processes that cause inflammation. This could explain why high sodium intake is linked to a higher risk of autoimmune diseases. Cutting back on salt isn't just about heart health. It's also crucial for managing arthritis pain and potentially reducing inflammation. Number 2. Nightshades. Have you ever heard that some vegetables might make arthritis symptoms such as pain worse? Well, nightshades, like tomatoes, bell peppers, chili peppers, eggplant, and potatoes, contain a compound called solanine. Some studies suggest solanine could interfere with gut health and increase inflammation. At the University of California, San Diego, researchers looked into this with 34 rheumatoid arthritis patients. These patients, who met specific criteria for RA, were mostly Hispanic and Caucasian. For a year, 20 Hispanic and 14 Caucasian patients worked with a nutritionist to create a 14-day anti-inflammatory diet called the ITIS diet. They tailored it with patient feedback to make sure the ingredients were accessible and the instructions were clear. This diet is now being tested to see if it can reduce pain and swelling in RA patients. If you think nightshades might be affecting your symptoms, the Arthritis Foundation has a practical tip. Try cutting them out of your diet for a couple of weeks. After that, reintroduce them one by one and see if any symptoms flare up. Keeping a food diary during this process can help track your reactions. Have you ever tried this kind of elimination diet? It might be a bit of a hassle, but it can be eye-opening. If you notice any of these veggies triggering your pain, it might be worth avoiding them. Number 3. Vegetable oil. Not all vegetable oils are made equal when it comes to arthritis pain. Diets high in omega-6 fats and low in omega-3 fats have been associated with worsened symptoms of knee pain, which is common in both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. While both omega-6 and omega-3 fats are essential for good health, An imbalance between them can increase the risk of inflammation, which isn't good news for arthritis patients. Omega-3 fats are found in oily fish, oily seeds, and green vegetables, while omega-6 fats are abundant in margarine, vegetable shortening, and cooking oils like corn and safflower. Striking a balance between these types of oils is crucial for managing arthritis symptoms effectively. In a 2000 study involving 145 RA patients and 188 control subjects, researchers found that the risk of developing RA was significantly associated with the consumption of cooked vegetables and olive oil. Interestingly, there was a noticeable trend towards reduced risk with increasing consumption of olive oil and cooked vegetables. Here's a handy tip. Consider using olive oil as an example of an oil that's low in omega-6 fats while increasing your intake of fatty fish to help optimize the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. You don't necessarily have to cut out omega-6 oils completely, but it's a good idea to restrict their use to help decrease joint pain. Instead, try incorporating oils like canola, flaxseed, or grapeseed oil into your cooking. These oils are rich in essential acids and fats from omega-3, which aid in relieving arthritis symptoms. Number 4. Foods with added sugar. Cutting back on sugar can benefit everyone, especially those with arthritis. Added sugars are hiding in all sorts of foods, not just the obvious ones like candy and soda. Even seemingly innocent items like barbecue sauce, salad dressings, and ketchup can be loaded with added sugars. Plus, regularly indulging in sugary drinks like sodas can contribute to obesity, inflammation, and other chronic conditions, making them particularly troublesome for arthritis sufferers. It's crucial to be vigilant about checking labels for added sugars when you're grocery shopping. Sometimes it sneaks into unexpected places, like cakes, pastries, cookies, jams, white bread, fruit juice, and certain types of alcohol like beer and cider. Even condiments such as ketchup, relish, and barbecue sauce can pack a sugary punch. One study that looked into this involved 217 people with rheumatoid arthritis. From May to December 2015, researchers sent out a diet survey to 300 participants. They asked about 20 different foods, wanting to know if each meal made their RA symptoms unchanged, better, or worse. They also gave an option to say if they didn't eat a particular food. The foods in the survey included things like milk, cheese, red meat, tomatoes, eggplant, white potatoes, bell peppers, diet soft drinks, and beer, which are often thought to be inflammatory. They also looked at foods believed to be anti-inflammatory, like fish, spinach, blueberries, strawberries, chocolate, and red wine. Plus, they included sugary sodas and different types of coffee and tea. Now here's what they found. Blueberries and spinach were most often noted to improve RA symptoms. On the flip side, sugary sodas and desserts were commonly reported to make symptoms worse. It's fascinating how what we eat can impact on how we feel, isn't it? Try cutting back on sugar to see if it affects your arthritis pain. It might be worth a shot, especially considering how pervasive added sugars are in our diets. Number 5. Processed and red meats. Red and processed meats might increase inflammation in the body, which can make arthritis symptoms worse. For example, people who eat a lot of red and processed meats often have higher levels of inflammation markers like interleukin-6, C-reactive protein, and homocysteine. These are all signs that inflammation is going up. In that study we talked about earlier, where they asked people with rheumatoid arthritis to rate how different foods affected their symptoms, red meat emerged as a common culprit in worsening RA symptoms. It's not just beef either. Goat, lamb, mutton, veal, venison, and pork were all implicated. So if you think red or processed meats might be making your arthritis pain worse, you could try cutting them out of your diet for a bit to see if it helps. It might not be easy, especially if you're used to enjoying these foods, but it could make a tremendous difference in reducing your pain. Number 6. Highly processed food. You know those tempting fast food meals and sugary breakfast cereals? Turns out they might not be the best for managing arthritis symptoms. They often contain refined grains, added sugars, and other stuff that can ramp up inflammation in the body, making those achy joints even more troublesome. In a study with 56 people dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, researchers found something pretty eye-opening. Those who ate a lot of ultra-processed foods had higher risk factors for heart disease, like elevated levels of glycated hemoglobin, which is a marker for long-term blood sugar control. On the flip side, folks who opted for more unprocessed or minimally processed foods had lower risks. It's pretty wild how what we eat can affect our health, isn't it? So, it's not just about arthritis symptoms. Eating a lot of processed foods can mess with your overall health and even up your risk for other diseases. That's why it's necessary to think twice before hitting the drive-thru or reaching for that packaged snack. Making small swaps, like choosing whole foods over processed ones, could make a big difference in how you feel day to day. Making simple swaps in your diet can be a game changer for managing arthritis. And remember, avoiding foods that trigger inflammation isn't just good for arthritis, it helps prevent other health issues too. Now, before we wrap things up, don't forget to show some love by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button to stay in the loop for more awesome health content. Oh, and be sure to share this video with your friends and family. They'll thank you for it. But hey, before you go, we've got a question for you. Is there a particular guilty pleasure food or drink that you find yourself indulging in a bit too often? And have you noticed if it makes your arthritis pain worse? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop us a comment below.